Hello, this is Tanuja here, holistic nutritionist and well-being breakthrough coach. I'm also a digestion whiz, and that's why today we will be talking about constipation. Yes, we are talking about your bowel movements today, and I know it's not a very pleasant topic to talk about. In fact, whenever I talk about digestion, most people are either running or hiding away, or they are just plain embarrassed to talk about it. And I get it totally, but it is an important topic to touch upon, and it is important to understand what's really going on if you are constipated. Because if you are not eliminating every day, then that means there is a toxin buildup within your body. So our bowels are really the body's way of getting rid of the waste material that is in the body, mainly from food and from other, breakdown metabolic processes as well. The other ways the body eliminates waste is through sweating, which if you are in a cold country like I am in, you don't get to sweat much unless you are exercising quite a bit, or you're using a sauna or something like that. So of course there is sweat, there is your nasal cavities and sinuses, where through mucus we'll lose waste material as well. That's one way of detoxifying. But bowels, more or less, is really how the body massively detoxifies us. So it's really important that we talk about constipation. And the other thing that kind of got this topic going for me was a lot of people actually complain about this, and I was surprised when I started my practice how many people really suffer from constipation. And like I said in the beginning, they're so embarrassed to talk about it that a lot of times these people just go unnoticed and they don't know what to do about it. And today what we're going to talk about is not just like drink your water and have your fiber. That is important, but there are other reasons why you might be constipated, and we're going to touch upon those. So what does constipation really mean? It might mean that you have irregular bowel movements, so you don't go for a few days in a row, or maybe even a couple of days. Sometimes even if you go, your stools are hard and impacted, and it's painful to pass your bowels. Or you could be bleeding, you might have hemorrhoids. So there are many ways that you would know you're constipated, and it's a very common condition, like I said. So if you are wondering what would a normal bowel movement look like, it would be, hi, whoever is joining in, please say hi, and please post your comments as well. I hope I can see them. I know some people have been having difficulties seeing the comments, but do feel free to post, and hopefully I'll be able to see them. So yeah, we were talking about constipation, and we were talking about, well, how do you know what are regular bowel movements? So you need to be going every day, daily, right? Once, twice a day is also normal, and it just depends on different people. Sometimes your metabolism is fast enough, so some people might go twice a day, but it is normal to go every day, and your bowels or your stools should be well formed. That's when you have normal bowel movements. Now, if you have, like I said, hard or impacted stools, then obviously you are constipated. If you are not going every day, you are constipated. Even if you skip one day, even if you go every alternate day, you're still constipated, right? So you have to understand that going every day is normal because you eat every day. You have metabolic waste products every day, so you will be eliminating every day. So it is important to note that. Now, why would somebody get constipated? Like I said in the beginning, a lot of people just think about water and fiber. And these are very, very important because water is really hydrates us, and that's where the bulk of your stool will be made of. So if you have enough water, you'll be passing stools normally and without much difficulty. That's why water is important for hydration purposes, for absorption purposes. Then fiber. Fiber is what gives the bulk to your stool. So if you don't have enough fiber in your diet, for example, you're not eating enough green vegetables or enough whole grains, then that means you're not getting the roughage, as we call it, to form your stools. And therefore, anytime you are, you're talking about constipation, you will be hearing of water and fiber. Very normal, and you need to be having that. But be very careful about taking over-the-counter fiber supplements, because some of them are pretty harsh. And if your digestive system is not working properly, then actually taking them might irritate your insides more and cause you inflammation. So you have to be really careful about what form of fiber you're taking and how much you're taking and all of those things. Another reason why you might be constipated, so lack of water, lack of fiber, would be stress or anxiety. Now, not a lot of people think about stress or anxiety when it comes to their physical manifestations, such as gut issues or digestive issues. So whether it's diarrhea or constipation or aches or pains in the body, stress plays a big role these days in how we feel. The physical manifestations go back a lot to the way we process stress. Now, because we're talking about constipation, let's specifically talk about how stress affects constipation or your bowels. When you're stressed, you generally tighten up. Right? The tendency is to tense up. You might feel it in your shoulders, neck areas, back, even arms sometimes. You might get those, headaches and what do you call them? Spasms, muscle spasms, right? So we're basically under stress. We are tightening up. We are trying to control the situation by controlling our body. And a lot of times it's just a very natural reaction. We don't really feel that happening in the body unless you start paying attention. So actually the next time you're stressed, if you consciously make that effort to understand, oh, I'm undergoing stress, let me feel that in my body. You might actually start noticing that it's in your shoulders, or you feel your gut tightening, or you're just holding your breath and you're breathing very shallow. So these are the ways where we constrict ourselves. Now, if you're constricting yourself because of stress, obviously your bowels are going to feel that. And if you followed me for any length of time, I've repeated this like a gazillion times, right? That our gut is our GPS. It's our second brain. There's a very deep connection between our brain and our gut. So anytime you have stress, the gut will be affected. And if you're tightening up, you're tightening the muscles of your large intestine or your colon, and therefore it will affect the way the bowels move through your intestines, and therefore you might be constipated. So that's another reason. Lack of physical activity is another reason why you might be constipated. Now, the way our bowels work is, if you imagine that to be a long tube, you must have, in your grade 5 or 6 or biology class, done the intestines and how they look. And they're really like a tube which has got almost like a caterpillar, little bumps, right? And just like the caterpillar moves in these waves, that's how your bowels move. The muscles of the intestines, also known as the movement, also known as peristalsis, is like that caterpillar type of a massaging action, and that's how the contents move. Now, if you exercise, you are naturally enhancing the peristalsis. So you're naturally helping the movement of the contents of the intestine, and that way it helps in elimination. And sometimes, you might just go for a walk or a run and come back feeling, oh, things are moving and I need to go now. So that helps. Now, a lot of people, so these are some of the reasons why you might be constipated. Lack of exercise, lack of fiber, lack of water, a lot of stress, and with that goes maybe lack of sleep, which causes more stress, so different things. You might also have a weak digestive system, which basically means you don't have enough digestive juices to break down the foods that you're eating. So imagine you might be eating healthy foods like, say, your kale and your greens, but if your digestive system is not able to break down these foods properly, then the body cannot assimilate the nutrients. It cannot get rid of the waste material, because digestive system is really what is managing all the food that you're eating, and not just the food, but the nutrients that you derive from the food. So if you have been eating healthy, if you have been eating enough fiber and still you're constipated, then you got to, start wondering if your digestive system is weak. And very interestingly, it happened with a client of mine. When she came to see me for bowel movements. There would be a day when she would go and she would have a good bowel movement, and then after that she would not go for several days. And she told me she was eating very healthy, and I started looking at her, at her food journal. She was indeed eating healthy. I mean, I would argue sometimes that she was actually eating more healthy than I was, right? Like, she was having her greens, she was exercising, she loved skiing, and she was getting regular exercising, either walking or some sort of exercising. She was drinking enough water. Once in a while, she always had those days where she wouldn't drink enough, but that wouldn't warranty her being constantly constipated. So if everything on the diet front was fine, what was going on? With her, that was two things. One, like I said, it was the digestive system. So she had food sensitivities, by the way. Food sensitivities might also cause either diarrhea or constipation. So depending on your body and how it reacts to that food, it will, cause that particular symptom. So she had food sensitivities, which she had no clue about. And once we started tracking her food journal and we talked every week to figure out, I started noticing a pattern that every time she ate these couple of foods, she was starting to get constipated. And the funny part, one of those foods was spinach. So here we're talking about eating green leafy vegetables to get your fiber, but that was actually causing her constipation. So it was very interesting. But that's one of the advantages. When we talk every week, we are able to see the changes that are happening in the body, or what are your food patterns, what are your thought patterns. I was asking her to monitor her stress levels. So the two things that were that needed attention for her was, one, the food sensitivities and overall strengthening the digestive system, and secondly, it was stress. So she was a very sensitive person, and she was, going through a transition at work. There were certain stresses happening, and she was taking it all internally. And as a result, she was constipated. So we worked through, in our one-on-one sessions through both of these. And of course, at the same time, we refined the diet even more to help her. She had to take certain supplements in order to get her digestive juices running and, strengthen up. But that's really those are the different reasons. So if you're just thinking, oh, I drink water, or oh, I know I just should drink more water and that will take care of it, or I should just eat more fiber or take fiber supplements. Fiber supplements, you really have to be very careful about, like I said, which fiber are you taking. So you really have to start thinking about what's going on in your body, which you don't maybe understand. And there are so many conditions which are just beyond our way of understanding what's going on with the body, but it might be causing those symptoms. So these are the imbalances, these are the root causes that I talk about every time. Then when I'm working with you guys, I'm really figuring out what is the root cause of your symptom. It's not a superficial thing, and these days it's more and more I'm talking about mindset and nutrition. So you see how in this particular case of the client that I'm talking about, it was both of those conditions. So she had a weak digestive system, she had food sensitivity, so there was the nutrition part, and then there was the stress part, right? And the two married together was giving her constipation. And of course, just within a couple of weeks, in fact, I was surprised when we started working together. She was going on a vacation soon after, and just during her vacation, she was like, there's going to be change in the time zone, and I don't know if I'll be able to eat healthy, and it might not even happen for me until I come back. So I'm like, okay, let's just start our sessions. I'll give you the recommendations, start whatever you can. And you'll be surprised that 2 days after, I think, our session, she left for a vacation, and she was regular through her vacation. So right from day 3, she started becoming regular. But there were these patterns where, suddenly she'll have 2-3 days of bowel movements and then 1 or 2 days of no bowel movements, which was still way better than her not going for several days, right? So it can take anywhere from a few days to a few weeks for your system to come back to normal, but it is very much possible. So really, you got to start thinking about what is that root cause, what's going on in the body that is manifesting as these symptoms. because I have repeated this again, and I will say this again, I will never get tired of saying this, is that anytime you have a symptom in the body, constipation, diarrhea, cravings, aches and pains, migraines, food sensitivities, right? Any of these conditions, blood sugar imbalances, these are just the body's way of letting you know these are symptoms that, you know what, you need to pay attention. Something is going on within the body. And I'm absolutely shocked and appalled at the number of years people have been constipated and not bothered about it. It's amazing to me how we think that if we are not eliminating the toxins every day, we can be healthy and normal. So there is no surprise when these people who have been constipated will come and tell me, I feel tired all the time. Of course you will feel tired all the time. There is all that toxin buildup. It doesn't let you be normal. That energy flow right in the intestines, right in your colon, your energy flow is stopped. There's a toxin buildup, which is, instead of getting eliminated, now it's circulating in your bloodstream. And sometimes that might show as skin eruptions. You might have rashes. Those toxins in the body might give you the migraines that you might be having, right? So you don't feel good. You feel congested. You feel bloated. You feel, I don't know, it's just a very tight feeling overall in the body. Another problem I've seen with constipation is people are too dependent on laxatives. So you have to let the body do its natural thing. And obviously if you're constipated, the body is not doing its natural thing. That's why you're not having regular bowel movements. So depending on laxatives once in a while, or kind of taking them to get the elimination going and getting rid of those toxins is great. But again, once you start depending on them and you take them every day, now you're hampering your body's own ability to take care of its own systems. Now the body is going to be dependent on those laxatives. So remember that peristalsis, or that, the caterpillar-like movement that I was talking about, which helps to move the contents of your colon, that is going to be delayed, or it'll get worsened, because now your body is saying, oh, I'm getting all the help I can from this external source, which is a laxative, and it's going to become lazy. It's like, when you have a squint eye, or what's that called, strabism or something, that's the word, right? So it's the lazy eye also in common terms, because your other eye just compensates for the lazy eye and it takes over. So in this case, you're letting your laxatives take over, and your body relaxes and says, oh, I don't need to do anything here. I don't need to do my natural movement, because the laxative is going to just come and force everything out. And with laxatives, I know there was one lady who contacted me. She had been on laxatives. She was dependent on them, and she knew it, right? She came to me. She was almost on the verge of tears, and she said, I'm so dependent on them. And the worst problem with laxatives was she didn't know when she would have to go. So she would take them every morning, but sometimes she said on the way to work, I would get this urge to go to the washroom because I had taken my laxative, but I would have no way to, park over or go and find a washroom. So it's not a very pretty sight. So you want to let your body do its natural stuff as much as possible. I'm not seeing any comments, guys, so I don't know if you are typing them in, but I'm definitely not seeing anything here. So I will, of course, hopefully see it afterwards. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to me and ask your questions, and I will reply back to you. My goal with all of my live streams or my blog posts, if you are on my email list and you get access to my articles and recipes, or if you're part of my Facebook group, Wellbeing Unleashed, all my posts, all my articles, the point of them, or all my lives, is that you start understanding that your body is quite capable of healing itself. Our bodies want to be in a state of balance. Our bodies want to feel good. It's us, with our feeding habits, with our eating habits, with our thought patterns, that we start interfering with our own well-being. nothing external really matters if we pay attention to how we are treating ourselves. And that means the body and the mind. Let's not separate the two. Our body works as a whole. If your brain goes off to sleep, or if your brain stops functioning, you are dead, right? So nothing works in isolation. It's all working together. Same way, right? Your digestion is working in conjunction with your other body systems, right? If if the heart wasn't pumping the blood and carrying all the nutrients that the digestive system is breaking down, then you won't be getting those nutrients to each and every cell. So the body works as a whole. You got to think just beyond that one particular symptom or that one particular system. And that's why my work, when I do the analysis initially, when I sit down to work with my clients one-on-one, is to figure out which are the body systems that seem to be out of balance. What needs attention? It's not like, okay, take that pill or take that laxative and you should be fine. It's never that quick fix approach. And if you've had this constipation especially, or any digestive issues for years, it's time to take action. I say to my clients or the people I talk to, if your symptoms have persisted for more than 3 months, you need to seek a specialist. You need to see someone who understands what's going on with your body. And if you're not satisfied with the answer, go find somebody else. I know, I've talked about it also several times. I went through a series of people till I got a satisfactory answer, until I started making progress. I just did not go to my doctor and he told me, oh no, there's nothing you can do, and stop there. If I did, I would not be in this position here talking to you. So you are in charge. Take care of yourself. You can do it. You have to be responsible. You have to tune in and understand what's going on in your body. And constipation is one of those things, guys, which is, it's so common. It's so common. You've got to do something about it. There could be other underlying factors which might be contributing to constipation. Certain medications, having diabetes increases your chances for constipation. Having thyroid issues increases your chances of constipation. So you really want to understand what's going on in the body. Is it certain medical conditions? Is it your diet? Is it any food sensitivities? Is it stress or any of those other physical external factors that is affecting your condition? So that was my spiel for today. I hope this inspires you to take action. If you've been suffering from constipation, IBS, indigestion, heartburn, diarrhea, leaky gut, food sensitivities, any sorts of aches and pains, blood sugar issues like cravings or diabetes, then you need to talk to me. We can figure out an action plan for you that will get you to reclaim your freedom, to reclaim your power, and so that you can start having fun again in life, right? So feel free to join my Facebook group. I have a cheat sheet on my website, which is 10 foods for rocking digestion. Feel free to download that, and there are plenty of resources on my website also for you to go through and start taking action. And if you want to work one-on-one with me, reach out and we can figure out how to get you to feel healthy again. So that's it for today, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.